Who needs a florist when you can make fresh cut flowers on your 3D printer? Roses. Valentine's Day's coming up. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog number 394 for February the 3rd, 2025. And I'm doing this quickly because I have to leave within the next hour to get to my dental appointment for my cleaning. And I hate the dentist, but move on. Okay, current projects. Let's take a peek, and I'll be talking about these in a little bit more detail tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. First one is the pattern I've been working on. This is my own pattern, and I've got the top all done, and so all I need to do is put it on Lucy and get it quilted in the whole bit, finalize the pattern, and then I can make the pattern available to anybody who wants it free of charge. I am thinking of releasing it more around the date of the Idiot Quilter Retreat. We shall see. But I ran into a little problem, and I don't know if you can see it here, but tomorrow I will talk about this in a little bit more detail because basically, well, it's a major problem. But we'll talk about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Also did these on the weekend as sort of a little break from other projects. These were on sale on Designs by Juju. They're freestanding lace Easter things, as you can see, Easter eggs and Easter bunny. They're kind of cute, but I'm not that pleased with them. I'm glad I didn't pay a lot of money for them because I think that the lace is just a little bit too open, and it does, if you're not careful, when you're drying these after you've taken out the water soluble, they will distort. And you can also see some little threads and things that are extraneous on it. I'm not going to take the time to clean those up. I just wanted to do it because I thought it was kind of cute. They're just hanging on a bulletin board now for, you know, just there as a decoration. I wouldn't make these to give to anybody at all. Okay, so I think, yeah, that's all I have there to show you. So, moving right along, YouTube channel of the week. This one is by Anne Reardon. She's an Australian. She is a food scientist. I think she's a food scientist because she seems to know an awful lot about the science behind food. And she is debunking microscopes that show things in foods that we didn't know that are in our foods. Now, it's not to say that these things couldn't exist in the food, but she kind of debunks it. And I love it when she debunks some of these crazy videos that go up on YouTube. People are just trying to make money by putting them up, you know, monetize them, become popular. And usually they're not done by individuals, they're done by companies. Chinese companies actually do a lot of these, you know, like 5-minute crafts and things like that, cooking tips and whatnot. So you got to be careful about all this kind of stuff. But this one's kind of a little bit more on a serious level. So here's what I'm talking about. This week's YouTube clip comes from How to Cook That, and I have reviewed this YouTube channel several times in the past because I find it both entertaining and informative. And it is about cooking, but it's also about science. And in this particular video, Anne Reardon, the creator of How to Cook That, says, "You've been fooled. Fake microscope food content." Now, we've heard a lot of things about poisons in our food, microplastics, things like that. And there's a whole bunch of YouTube short videos on showing all kinds of things like bugs and dirt and chemicals and particles, all things that are going to kill us in our food, in our prepackaged foods. And so Anne Reardon actually takes this apart and looks at it. Supposedly these videos have been done using a microscope to show you something that the naked eye can't see that's going to harm you. Well, she debunks this, and I find it really quite interesting what she says about this kind of thing. So if you want some reliable, scientific-based information about what is and isn't in your prepackaged foods, then you're going to want to check out Anne Reardon's How to Cook That, You've Been Fooled, Fake Microscope Food Content. So you'll find the link for that in the show notes below. You'll also find a link for the Idiot Quilter Pop-Up Sew Day. Yes, I'm having a pop-up sew day this coming Saturday, February the 8th, 2025. Virtual doors open because it is a Zoom for anybody that's never been to one before. Virtual doors open at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, but you don't have to be there at 8 if that's not a convenient time for you, especially if you live out in the West Coast. You can come and go all day as you please, and we'll finish up around 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just a chance for you to get caught up on some of those projects and have some company while you're sewing. We always have a good time. So those of you on my mailing list, I just sent out, before I started recording this, the information, the Zoom link to your email box. For anybody else that's not on the mailing list, you will find it in the show notes below this video, in the show notes tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter, and the show notes from Stephen and Walter live on yesterday, and it'll also be in this week's So Chatty. So lots of different places where you can find the Zoom link. All are welcome, as I said. Okay, you will also find links for any of the things I talk about today in the show notes, and you will find links for my friends' YouTube channels as well. Okay, so let's go to what's pissing me off this week. Well, I started to talk about it near the end of Stephen and Walter Live, and it does have to do with politics, but not the politics you're thinking. I'm not talking about the whole stressful situation of the trade war right now. Oops, did I mention politics? I did. Too bad. But what I do want to talk about is the politics of school administration. Yes. Now, yesterday I mentioned the fact that recently I decided I would like to donate a lot of my 3D prints to my local elementary school, which is called Kindred Public School. And I've donated things to them in the past. I donated to them over $500-600 worth of scrapbook pads a couple of years ago when I redid this room into my sewing room and kind of got out of doing scrapbooking. Never got a thank you note for that, by the way, from the administration. Just last fall, or last summer actually, I donated a whole bunch of paints that I had been using in my mixed media process. I made sure the paints were all usable, none of them were dried up, and many of the paints I gave them were brand new, had never even come out of the box or the package yet. Again, that was several $100s worth of supplies. Never got a thank you note from the administration either. And it is the administration's responsibility to do that, not the teachers that might end up with some of this stuff. The administrators need to do this. So I sent an email about their 3D prints along with pictures. No answer. Nothing. I let several days go by. I sent it again, but I thought, well, there is a chance that maybe their server, because it's through our district board office, maybe because it's not one it recognizes, maybe it got bounced, although it didn't bounce back to me, so that kind of said it went through. But I decided to send it again, but this time from my secondary email address, because it's a Gmail address and everything goes through Gmail. So I sent it. Well, I did get a reply a little bit later from one of the secretaries telling me that they had just gotten a new vice principal and she was a little overwhelmed right now with the job, so give her a little bit of time and she'd get back to me. Yeah, I gave her more than a week. Haven't heard a word. So I sent a third email last week, tail end of last week, and I just said, look, you know, you're not, basically, I haven't heard anything from you. All I need is a simple yes or no. If you would like those 3D prints. If you don't want them, that is just fine and dandy. I will offer them to another place. Nothing. Have heard nothing. And you know, that's the way school administrators are. I'm sorry if you were a school administrator. I'll let you know that I just don't talk about this from the point of view of being a classroom teacher for 31 years and a department head for most of that time as well. I am a qualified principal as well. I have all the qualifications, all the courses, I took all of that. I never became a principal, and here's the reason why. Once you become a principal in this day and age, you are removed from your school environment in terms of working with the kids, in terms of working with your staff. You are nothing more than the word says, a school administrator. And it's a power trip and a control thing. And a lot of the people, the young people that are going into administration these days, although they have the qualifications on paper, some of them have not spent more than 5 years in a classroom. Really, you need to have classroom experience, a lot of it, under your belt, in my opinion, if you're going to be an administrator, because you need to know every aspect of your school. And more than that, that job should be a people job. You're there to support your students and your staff, but it's not. More and more duties have been piled up, and not the fault of the administrators, piled up on them by the school boards. And the school boards just dump everything, finances, PR, politics, the whole bit, onto principals. So, they have a large burden to bear. However, the people who go into that job know what it's going to entail, and they do it anyways. Why? What's the incentive? Well, the incentive is this. One, it's a bigger paycheck than a teacher gets. Two, you have power. And I think it's all about the power. I've had several friends who were excellent classroom teachers, rose up in the ranks, became administrators, and they forgot all about the little people on the way up, i.e. the teachers and the students, and their friends in education. I have one friend, she's risen to the top. I never hear from her. Nothing. We used to get together on a regular basis. We used to have a lot of fun. No, you see, I'm not in the same league anymore for a couple of reasons. One, I never became a principal. Two, and that's an old boys, old girls club, basically. Two, I'm retired. I am useless to her. Because that's another personality trait of an administrator. If they're going to survive, they have to surround themselves with people that have qualities and talents that they can use, or they can dump jobs they don't like doing on. The other thing that keeps administrators going too is, for a lot of them, moving up in the ranks. From principal, you go to superintendent. And once you've become superintendent, well, you're basically a god in the education system. You have underlings. People that when something comes up that you don't want to deal with, you can assign to them. You have access to secretaries, to assistants, all this kind of stuff. You have a seat on the board, and you have a say on policy. More than a say. You can, depending on your personality, you have a controlling interest in that. And that's no longer education. That is politics. So let's bring this back down to why I'm telling you this. That's why there's no thank you notes. That's why you don't get an email. And not just someone like me who's offering some toys, okay, basically. Parents who have a problem, their kids being bullied at school or whatever, hurt in the playground, other issues. No. The administration doesn't want to hear about it. They pass it back to the classroom teacher that may have that kid in their class, or to the guidance department as well, or psych services, or special ed teachers, or whatever. Anything so they don't have to deal with it. I know of cases where one of the people who come onto our SO days on a regular basis is telling us the tale about her sister and her sister's daughter, who, I don't know if it was her sister. No, it might be her daughter's daughter. Anyways, her granddaughter was being bullied, severely bullied by this other individual at the school, physically bullied, as well as emotionally and mentally, to the point where the girl did not want to go to school. The mother of this girl contacted the principal. They wouldn't do anything for her. They paid her lip service. She finally went to the superintendent. The superintendent did the same thing. Basically, she should have phoned the cops, because that gets their attention, because her child was physically abused, assaulted. But she didn't want to do that. Well, you can understand why, but she should have. I know of young female teachers, just fresh out of teachers' college in their first teaching job at a school I used to work at, where they're being cornered by boys, big boys, and I won't tell you what race they come from, but big gangsta boys, okay, in the corner, in a stairwell, and sexually assaulted and threatened. They go to the administration, report the incident. The administration downplays it and says to them, well, if you want to make a charge, go to the police about it. You can do that, but they won't do anything for you either. They downplay it because they don't want bad publicity, because it's all about them, the administrators. If word gets out this is happening in their school, that does not look good for them. The heck with the poor teacher that's being assaulted. And you think I'm making these stories up? I am not. They are too real. So, if you ever try to contact a school about your grandchild or your child's situation, you may luck out and may get a good administrator, but they are far and few between. I had an excellent principal as my last principal before I retired, and he had to be the best. But he paid a price for being the best as well. He paid a price for supporting his staff and for supporting the kids that are going through his school, for caring. He paid a price with his bosses as well. So yeah, it pisses me off. Yeah, it's just a box of plastic, okay? But I made the effort, and they could at least meet me halfway. What would it take them, excuse me, to write a simple little email message saying, thank you for thinking of us. We appreciate it. Unfortunately, we don't have any use for this at the moment, but maybe you can find another outlet or something like that. Again, thank you so much for thinking of us. Bang. Or if they took the stuff or the stuff they took before, simple thank you note. Thank you so much for your donation. It will go to good use. We appreciate you thinking of us. Bang. Done. Email. What would that take? 30 seconds out of their day? But that's the reality. So you just have to live with it. Someone made a suggestion, though, yesterday for where I could maybe possibly donate. And they said, what about children's libraries? Yes. So later today, after I get my fangs polished, I'm going to give a call to my library. They have several branches in my city, and they have children's programs, and they have 3D printers too that they let the public use and kids use. So that may be a good spot for my donations. We shall see. I'll keep you informed. Okay, let's move on here, and let's take a look at what the weather's looking like this morning, since I have to venture out in this in a bit. Frosty. Yeah, right now it's -3, but that's kind of balmy. Like when you've got -16 to -20 before wind chill factory, -3 seems warm. Yeah. And that's Celsius, of course. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. It would be -3, -6, 6 from 30, around 24, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, yes, 85% chance of snow. So I hope it doesn't start to snow when I'm about to hit the road, because I do have to go to the next town over. So yeah, and I don't like driving in the winter. Nobody does. We do it anyways. We're Canadians. We're kind of used to it, but just because we're used to it doesn't mean we have to like it. So off we go. Now the rest of this week looks cold, but again, highs of -2, -4. Thursday, 70% chance of snow. And on Saturday, 45% chance of snow. Spring's not here yet, regardless of what the groundhogs saw. The American groundhog saw their shadow. 6 more weeks until spring. I think that's how it works. Ours, Wyerton Willie, didn't see a shadow. Maybe they should get him a pair of glasses. I don't know. So, yeah. So is it going to be an early spring? I don't know. We go through this every year. It is what it is. It's weather. Yeah, what can we do? But anyways, it's looking frosty out there this morning. So just to add to my other anxieties here. Yes, I have anxiety when I go to the dentist. It's a childhood trauma thing that I had many, many, many years ago when I was about 6 or 7 years old and went to the dentist for the first time. It wasn't pleasant. And yeah, and I'm hoping last time I went and had a cleaning, it didn't take long. The water pick is working, and my brushing routine and everything of that seemed to be working, because the dental hygienist, she said, wow, there's not much here to clean. I hope she says the same thing again because I've been very, very, very conscientious. I do not want to have teeth like my parents had because they had horrible teeth. And I do not want that at all. So I'll let you know next week about how that works out. Or maybe even tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. We'll see. Okay, so let's take a look at the grow lights. I'm just going to buy my peppers because I'm very proud of my peppers. And since we are now on, because of the tariffs, we are going to start centering our attention on buying nothing as much as we possibly can. We will not be supporting the American economy. We will be buying Canadian. That's the way us common people here in Canada are fighting back this. So one of the things is produce. Although a lot of our produce comes up from Mexico, but it goes through the States. And I don't know if we get some from California or when we get that. But anyways, we're growing our own, as you know. And here's my green peppers, our green peppers. They're coming along quite nicely. Now, this picture I took close up. They look like they're huge. They're not huge yet, but they're coming. And here's another batch over here. And they're doing very well too. And there's some little ones in here that haven't greened up. And there's more in the jungle of peppers. I am so pleased with this. We're going to be eating a lot of peppers. Our lettuce and everything's doing fine as well, our basil. But I'm really impressed with the peppers. Yeah, because we do eat a lot of green peppers, red peppers. I'll let some of them stay on the vine a little bit longer than others to see if we get some red ones out of this too. But yeah, so this is Canadian grown. No tariffs on our peppers. Okay, so what's that take me to next? All right, new products. Well, my 3D printer. I have had it now for about a week. I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. I have had a couple of minor problems with it, but those were user error, and I was able to fix them, no problem at all. And speaking of fixing printers, I have one printer that I have to fix, one of my older printers today when I get back from the dentist. It needs a new CR Touch. That's a little probe for leveling. It's sticking or whatever, so I need to play with that. I have another spare one. I just got it yesterday, so I may have to install that later because I'm still using those printers as well. But anyways, I created a little video about the new printer, a little review of it, and I'm going to insert it here. As you can see, I have all 5 of my 3D printers operating this morning. And I'm doing some experiments, though, with the newest one. And this is the Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon. Now, I got this about 3 days ago. And the first day I got it set up, I did a benchy. And the benchy came out great. But then I printed a second piece, and it came out okay. But the next day, I tried to print something that I had sliced through the Bamboo Studio slicer, and I had a lot of problems. Now, at that point in time, I thought there was a problem with the AMS. I thought I might have had something stuck in there. But before I talk about that, let's talk about the component parts of this printer. This is a printer that, after taxes and everything in Canadian dollars, it's around $1,800, almost $1,900. So this is not a cheap toy. The features about the Bamboo Carbon, X1 Carbon, that I really like is it came with, well, I bought the combo pack, so it came with the AMS. The AMS is the Automatic Materials Supply. And basically, this takes 4 reels or spools of filament, and if a print has different colors, like this little minion I'm doing right now, it will automatically switch to when it needs that particular color, which is cool. You notice that the case is enclosed, so this will print then other types of filament. I print PLA. I have tried PETG many months ago on my other printers, on the Creality KEs, and I have mixed results with the PETG. I pretty much stick to PLA. However, I can print TPU on this new one. And TPU is a very flexible rubber-like filament, but it's expensive, and I think it gives off a certain amount of fumes. I'm not sure about that. So I don't know if I'll ever try it or not. We'll see. So the enclosure is for that, because those type of things need to have an enclosure. Now, it did say that you should leave the doors open. There's the glass door here, and there's a glass top underneath the AMS. The AMS just lifts off because it can get too hot in the chamber and cause what they call heat creep, which is basically where the filament backs up in the nozzle and, well, it spews forth all over all your parts, and it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. But I've been watching my chamber temperature here, which is the 32, and that's within acceptable tolerances. And what I've been reading about it is people have had the internal chamber go up to 50 degrees C and haven't had a problem. So I think I'm okay with that. Now, down the road, I can print a little accessory that sits on top and allows your AMS to stay on top of your machine, but you can take the glass out here from the top and slide it into this holder, and so your top is open, and which I may do. It looks like it's a fairly good print, and it goes together pretty easy, so I might do that. We'll see down the road. But right now, what I'm trying to do is to make sure I'm not having any problems with this machine. To come back to what I was saying before, I sliced a model on the computer in Bamboo Studio, and I sent it. You can send things wirelessly to the printer, which is cool. You also can see on a camera, because there's a camera built into this, what's going on, and do time-lapse photography with it as well. And you can watch your printer and even control it from your phone. There's an app for your phone and from your main computer as well. If you take a look over here on my computer, this is what's going on inside the chamber, and I can watch it as it does its various things. It's actually not moving right now because it's switching colors, and it cuts off the old color and creates what's called printer poop. And that printer poop is ejected at the back of the machine and goes into this tray. And if you see, there's some printer poop right in there. Now, this tray was the second print that I did, and it turned out fine. But when I went and put in this other one that I did with the Bamboo Slicer software, I was running into problems. It couldn't retract the filaments for the different colors. I did some research, said I probably had a clog. I opened up the AMS. I now know how to take the AMS apart. Actually, they're very simple devices. And yes, there was a piece of filament trapped in one of these holders, but that didn't solve my problem. And I did fill out a help ticket with Bamboo Studio. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I think I solved my own problem. There was a piece of filament stuck in the extruder. That's the thing with the hot end right back there, the gray thing. And it was very easy to open that up because it's on magnets and just pull out that piece of filament. So I was still having some problems and getting very frustrated. And then I thought, let's do a factory reset. And I did. And let's just try printing something that came with the printer that's in the control panel in here. There is a whole bunch of them, as you can see, that are built into it. So I tried that with a Benchy, and the Benchy printed out fine. Then I decided to try it again with the model that I had created in the slicer, and that's where I had problems again. So my conclusion was that it was the model, the way I sliced it. Well, I sliced it for the wrong printer, I realized when I went back and took a look at it. And so I didn't do that particular model again, but I did this one of the Minion right here. I made sure I had all the settings right for the machine, and that's what it's printing right now. And knock wood, I'm not having any problems. In fact, I printed out a simple single color item, which was just a little collapsible cell phone holder, and the machine worked fine.
worked flawlessly. So I'm thinking that was my problem. I didn't slice the model properly. There is a bit of a learning curve, even though I've been doing 3D printing with these machines and other Creality machines for what, 3-4 years now. This is a new learning curve. Not a severe one, but there are some features of this that are different from the KEs, obviously. So I'll let you know. I have some other tests I want to do with this machine, but this little print right now, even though it's one little print, is going to take, it says 5 hours and 51 minutes left. It's at 11% done, and it has 176 layers, and it's on layer 19. One of the things that slows down this machine, it is a fast machine in printing, but it spends a lot of time, depending on how many color changes there are, going back and forth, extruding and retracting the color you have in there, cutting it off, making the poop, putting in the new filament, and then doing its print. So it seems to spend more time doing changes, depending on your project, than it does in the actual printing. But I guess that's the price you pay if you want something that does automatic color changes. So I can live with that. Anyways, as I use this more and more, I'll get better at it. So I printed this little minion just to try 4 different colors, and the printer worked really well. This had supports on it, but the supports came off really easy. However, this took 6.5 hours to print, and he is, well, not very big, okay? But I knew that when I started. I just want to make sure the AMS was working properly. I have found videos that talk about how to cut down the time and the amount of poop, and there was a lot of poop that this one generated. So as you can see, more poop than what went into the minion. But these are things that I'm learning how to get around. Now, right now, what I'm doing is I'm having it print this, which is 1/2 of a, so it doesn't blur. This is a spool holder that you can put into the ones that have cardboard, because the AMS does not like cardboard spools. And you can rip off the cardboard and use this instead. So I'm printing the first half of that. It's in a single color. It's going to take 2 hours and 1 minute for that. There's no purging going on with this as well. So the computer rate, or the printer right now, is just doing some auto bed leveling, and then away it'll go with that, and we'll see how that turns out. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for my big box of bamboo filaments to arrive. They should be coming here anytime now, and I'll show you what that looks like. Banana. So I'm continuing with my experiments in order to learn how to use this printer. And yesterday I printed out these 2 parts of a spool holder to get rid of cardboard off the ones, but I'm not sure. I think maybe this spool was too thick or whatever, because these 2 pieces are not locking. So I'm gonna have to do some more exploring of this. But my bamboo filaments were supposed to come yesterday, and in that order were a couple of empty spools as well for using their what do you want to call it? Not recycled, but replacement spools. And so I'll see how those work on this one. And if they don't, then I know that this particular reel is just too thick. Also, there's this little piece that printed with it, and I don't know what that's for. And I can't really find anything so far in my preliminary search as to how this works. So I'll continue looking for things like that. In the meantime, I'm trying to do a much more complex print, multicolored. This is one I found online on the Maker Universe, which is Bamboo's website, I guess, where they have models. I did change the colors slightly. Maybe not the best combination of colors, but it's what I've got in the AMS right now, and I didn't want to switch them out, so until I get my bamboo filament. So I'm trying this. It says it's going to take over 15 hours to print, so that means it'll be done sometime tomorrow, probably, or in the night.
we'll see how this works out. I'm anticipating that it's taking a long time because of the number of color changes, and it has to purge between each one and make the poop. And there's a better way to do that, and I need to really sit down and study that information and see what happens. Um, and now I've got an error message on here. Says the micro lighter camera lens seems to be dirty. Please clean the lens. Okay. Why did you tell me that right now? And what's this doing? Printing stopped because homing z-axis failed. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, what that means. We'll have to explore this further. So I want to show you what came of that dragon that I was making as my experiment using the AMS, the Automatic Material Supply System that changes color automatically. And here he is. And he is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I basically didn't do a lot of thought about what color I was going to use or the colors I was going to use for this, because I basically just left what I had already in the AMS there. But actually that color combination worked out pretty good. And the detail is incredible. Now, this did have supports, but the supports came off really easy. I was surprised at that. Yes, he took over 15.5 hours to print, but a lot of that is because it had to keep purging filament every time it changed a color. And, well, this whole bucket is full of what we refer to as printer poop. Yeah, all of that is printer poop. So my next task is to look into how I can reduce the amount of printer poop. And there is a way. I saw a couple of videos about this, so I'm going to try that with the next one I print. But I'm really, really impressed. I would never get this quality out of my Creality KEs. There would have been no way. So yeah, right now, it's worth the money to buy one of these, I think. So of course I've been experimenting with the new printer just to see what I can print and what I can't print. And so I have several of these things to show you. This is a new dragon. It's a new dragon design with all the little knobby things on it. This one is an articulated print in place dragon, meaning it comes out all in one piece, ready to go. I didn't put any supports on it or even a brim, and it came off beautifully. And I even played with color combinations. Okay, maybe not the best color combinations for this one, but I want to see what I could do with the color on something like this. So basically, I picked where the color was going to go and what colors I was going to use. So yes, I am impressed with the quality here. I also printed this little guy, and he is much smaller than he looks like in the picture. He's a little chameleon keychain. He's articulated, print in place. I did not print on the new printer. I printed him on one of the old KEs. Should print him again though on the new one, on the bamboo, just to compare the quality of the surface lines and things like that. And this is another key fob. I added my little gnome to it, but it's articulated, but it's fun. Again, it's not as big as it looks like in this picture. And another type of fidget keychain. And I made this little cockatoo as well. All of these things right now, except the dragon, were all done on the old KE printers. And the old KE printers are working pretty good. They're slower, but they're doing okay. And I'm looking for things that look like, they call these, the cockatoo, a little key fob. I'm looking for more of these because I'm thinking these would make great decorations on bag gifts as well, different styles of these. Okay, this guy, the robot, humanoid worker, it's called. He is articulated, meaning he will bend, and he came all in one piece off the printer, and I printed him on the new printer. And notice there's come little strings here. I forgot to go over them with the little blowtorch that just melts those away. That's a normal thing on any printer. But if you look at the patterning on him and the pieces, and of course he's in two colors. Again, I let the AMS, the Automatic Material Supply System, do its thing there. He came out great. Absolutely wonderful. Now, I saw these on another YouTube channel called Macy Makes. I think I've talked about her before. And She picked up these roses for Valentine's Day, and I thought I'd give them a try. Well, they turned out pretty darn good. Those were all done on the new bamboo printer. And the stems are fairly delicate with the leaves on them. Those all came out well too. And then I made this little vase. That's a heart-shaped vase for this too. And yeah, everything was printed really well with the bamboo printer. Do I have any more to show you? No, that's the last one. So I have to say right now, I think it was worth the money I spent because it's doing a wonderful job. I am very pleased. I am so pleased with it. Okay, you know what's coming. I'd love to get another one and slowly start replacing my print farm of the KEs, the Creality machines, the older machines, with all bamboo. However, I'm holding off on that idea because these are pricey. One bamboo printer X1 carbon is the equivalent in price to the 4 Creality KEs that I have. Yeah, we're talking about $2,000 by the time taxes, shipping, all that stuff is done. So down the road, I will invest in another one, but not right yet. Now, right now on my printer, and I don't know if you can hear it, probably not, because I've got background what do you call it, dampening on here. But it's working on a really big project that's probably going to take all of this week to print. It is a stand that fits underneath the AMS on top of the printer so that you can take the glass top out without having to take the AMS off the top of the printer. It even has a spot where you can slide it in for storage. Now, why do you want to do that? Because if too much heat builds up in the chamber, it can cause you problems with some filament types. So PLA is one of those, and that's what I print in primarily. You're supposed to leave the door open, but that's a bit of a pain in the butt because when the door is closed, it's pretty, like, it definitely dampens the sound. With the door open, it's a little louder. So I'm making this thing. We'll see how this turns out. So far, the first piece that I printed that took about 15 hours came out beautifully. And I'm hoping I'm printing the second piece now, but there's a lot of pieces to print. So fingers crossed that this all works out well. And if it does, you'll hear about it for sure. And you hear about it even if it doesn't. Okay, so that's a lot of things that I have printed this week. And I printed some other things that are related to quilting, but I'll talk about those tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to old video clips from early Stephen and Walter lives. And we had this series I'm showing right now were all based on questions people asked us on the lives. And another question people asked us was about being artists. You know, from last week or the week before, I showed you Walter's stained glass that he used to make. And of course, you know that at the time that I started Stephen and Walter Live, I was not yet a quilter. I was a mixed media creator. I do hesitate to use the word artist for myself because, you know, if you use the narrowest focus of the word artist, I don't paint. So, yeah. But I suppose I am an artist. All of us creators are artists in our own way. There might be those that are more purists and don't consider us that, but hell with them. But anyways, here was our discussion about being artists. A few questions left over from last week. And this probably is a very appropriate question right now. The question came from Rose and asked, when did you start doing art? Well, you tell them about how you got involved with stained glass.
Well, stained glass is something I've always admired. I always liked it, and I always had an idea that is a hobby that I sort of wanted to do. But I never seemed to have any time between work and my parents were elderly. I'd end up having to do a lot of work for them and that. And then really, when my mom ended up in the nursing home and I found I had a little bit more free time, and I started doing it then. But other things happened where I got busy again and I couldn't do do it for a bit, and then after she passed away, I ended up I had lots of free time, so I sat down and went to some classes and got more involved in it, and I found that I actually really like it.
So, um, so basically, you started this how many years ago?
After 2009, that was about 8 years ago.
But you've done art things all your life. There's maybe not fine art, but they're
Yeah.
like you puttered about and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's been not like something just one day you woke up and
No, it's something
decided
that
to
I've
be
always
creative.
wanted. That particular thing is something that I've always wanted to do. But over the years, I've tried other things like some wood stuff and stuff like that, which I thought I might wanted to do, but then it turned out that it wasn't really for me. So
Yeah, you started trying to do wood carving, and
I just got frustrated with it.
and I got you all those expensive tools to do it, and they've never been used for anything. But anyways, for me, actually, I'm assuming everybody can hear us okay now because I plugged the microphone back in. So is sound okay? If somebody could just let me know if you can hear me okay with that. Not a problem, Dorothy. She says, sorry I'm late, guys. Happy retirement, Walter. Not a
Thank you.
problem, Dorothy. We're still on. And any parts that you missed, you can catch on the replay when it goes up on YouTube. Okay, so everybody says they can hear us. That's great. Good to know. Okay, so how did I get involved in art? Well, I've always enjoyed art as, making things. I've just come up with a new term for myself. I had to do this the other day because people are saying, like, I do art journaling, you know what I do, and that kind of stuff. And I don't like to use the term artist for myself, but I really don't know what to call myself. And I don't like the word crafter either, because crafter sounds like, oh, you're sticking like Q-tips together with a glue gun. And we all know we do a lot more than just that. So I called myself the other day a maker, but I heard a new term today that I like better, and it's, now I can't remember it.
Oh, good.
It was a really good term though, and I thought I would use it, but now I can't remember what it was. Something like creator, but not a
Absent-minded.
creator. Oh, shoot. I can't remember. Well, it'll come back to me eventually. So anyways, I loved art when I was in school, but I wasn't that great at it. I couldn't really draw that well, but I just loved it. I just loved the whole process of it. And in grade 8, when we were picking courses for high school, my art teacher was his name was Mr. Cross. I hope he's dead. Oh, he's got to be by now, because he was ancient then. And I know that sounds kind of cruel to say that, but I mean it because he was the nastiest teacher you could ever meet, and he taught art. And he'd look at the person on my left of me and say, that's wonderful, love the perspective. He'd look at the person on the right and go, I love what you've done with the color. Look at mine and go, yuck. Literally, he would go, yuck. Well, I'm in grade 8, I'm 13 years old. What's that do to your ego? But then he says to us when we were picking courses for the high school year, he says to me, I hope you're not planning on taking art in high school. And I go, well, yeah, I was. I really love art. And he goes, don't. Don't waste the teacher's time. Don't waste your time. You stink at it. You'll never make anything of it. Don't do it. Well, I was shattered. But guess what? I didn't take art. I never took art in high school. I never took art in any capacity again. I didn't do anything until 2002 when I discovered scrapbooking. And I've never looked back. Scrapbooking led to card making, led to more paper crafts, led to art journaling, led to now playing with acrylic paints and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still self-conscious of the fact that I am not an artist. And I don't know what the definition of an artist is. I do it because I like it. I have fun with it. And that's all that really matters. So, yeah. So I've always...
Maybe you're a con artist.
Maybe I'm a con artist. Yeah, right. Yeah, as Bev says, that was so wrong of that teacher to say that. Yes, and I was a teacher. And the one thing I always remembered from that experience is you never go to a kid and you always try to find something positive to say about whatever they're doing. I taught English. Sometimes it was hard to find something positive to say about their writing, I can tell you that. But, if it came down to, well, I love the way you spelled your name this time, I don't know. Well, no, I didn't really do that, but I always tried to, be positive in the comments I would make, and at the same time try to show them where they could improve. And there's a fine line in that, but not to blow their self-esteem out of the water. Not, that came from what this guy had done to me. So the power of teachers. So events in the past week, well, the big one was Walter's birthday dinner on Monday night at the Keg. The Keg is a steakhouse. It's a Canadian owned company. I do believe they do have a couple of branches somewhere in the United States as well. But we love the Keg. We love the food. Price, it's pricey, very pricey. For the two of us, we both started with a cocktail. We don't usually do that, but special occasion. Walter was hesitant because, sugar in a cocktail, but he had one. And then we had escargot. I love their escargot. It is the best that they make. And, of course, it's dripping in garlic sauce as well. And you get nice, fresh, warm bread to dip it all up in. Oh, yeah, my cholesterol went out the roof on that one. And then we had the steak with a loaded baked potato. A loaded baked potato means it's got chives, bacon, and sour cream all in that. And it does come with some vegetables, ate those too, but as well, but pricey. I mean, it cost us with the tip $200. Yeah, for the two of us. Oh, we did have a bottle of wine too. And we don't get the most expensive bottle of wine. In fact, we got a Canadian wine. Yeah, we're not drinking American shit. Nope, not anymore. We got Canadian wine, and I think it was at about $40 a bottle. The same one you can buy in our liquor store for about $12. Yeah. So, but that's the way it works. It was a pleasant evening. I think I mentioned on Stephen Walter Live though how noisy it was and how busy. The place was packed, and there were people with small children that wanted to run up and down amongst the aisles, and I really don't like that, but there you are. So yeah, we survived that, but it was in spite of the children. Okay, it was a really nice evening, and so that's how we celebrated Walter's 67th birthday. Yep. Okay, and so what's coming? We also got the new bed on Saturday. Yeah, our bed that's all automated, has remote control. It massages you. It goes up, it goes down, it folds you in half like a pretzel. We talked about it yesterday. We're getting used to it. Well, we've only had 2 nights on it, Saturday night and Sunday night, but I'm loving it right now. So worth the money so far. Yep, it's good. And I don't know if it's my imagination or what, but I do feel that I'm not waking up as achy as I have been with the old mattress. So that's a good thing as well. So what's coming up? Well, besides going off to the dentist this morning, we are having the pop-up sew day, as I said already, this coming Saturday, February 8th, 2025, starting at 8 a.m. Come whenever you want to come. And the Zoom link's in the show notes. And just an advance notice, April 26th, Saturday, April 26th is the date for the, is it semi-annual? Biannual, semi-annual? I don't know. I do it twice a year. My spring retreat, the Idiot Quilter 2025 spring retreat, which is always a virtual Zoom event. It is free. Details will be coming out in another month or so about how you register for it and everything like that. Right now, I'm working on my guest speakers. I've got one guest speaker that has agreed to be my speaker, and she is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited that she agreed to it. She's very humble. She didn't think she had anything to offer. Oh no, she has a lot to offer. So I'm excited about that. I have another feeler out for somebody else. I haven't heard back from that person. I have a feeling I'm not going to hear back from that person. I had another one out as well, but unfortunately he is tied up. He would have been great, but he's tied up with a trade show on that date as well. So yeah. So I'm on the hunt for a second guest speaker, and I have some things in mind, and we'll see how that all works out. So yeah, so stay tuned. I will let you in on everything about the retreat and give you plenty of time to sign up for it. And again, it is free, but signing up's important because I can only handle so many people on my Zoom license, and so that reserves a spot. But all those details will be coming out in about a month's time. Okay, so that's it. I got to get this in the can and off. to my adventure at the dentist, which I'm not looking forward to. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later this week on the Idiot Quilter and So Chatty, and of course on Saturday for the Pop-Up Sew Day, and for those of you that are around, the Sewing with Stephanie and Steven on Wednesday. So yeah, lots to do. See you later. Bye for now.